I'm standing on one of Africa's largest gold mine.
Any property facing the express now is currently sold at 180 million, 200 million on this road.
As of 2024, the market value of this gold mine was approximately $15.98 trillion, potentially reaching $20.11 trillion by 2028.
First question I will ask you, what do you need the property for?
Driven heavily by rapid urbanization and population growth, this booming sector has been a blessing for some, birthing millionaires and transforming lives.
I got a property in Lekki for like 50,000 naira, and now the value is now like 1 billion, 2 billion. You're like, how come?
Yet, for others, it has turned into a curse.
And here in Lagos, the state government has marked 38 housing units in Ikota, a high-end neighborhood in Lekki, for demolition.
Today, we dive deep into this paradox. It's a treasure trove for some and a trap for others.
Yeah, I can count about 15 allocations already, but I'm sure there are more.
What exactly makes this gold mine so alluring and so dangerous?
The job of the lawyer is not to go to Alausa to check if that land is free.
I know you must be wondering, what is this gold mine is talking about?
Well, on our way to Idiorogbo, Lekki Palacio, exactly.
That gold mine is Virgin Properties. In a mega city with over 22 million residents, Lagos stands tall as the beating heart of West African commerce. The real estate sector here isn't just a business, it's a powerful engine of economic movement, influencing migration, investment, and the very future of urban life in Nigeria. Little wonder it's often called the New York of Nigeria. So today I invite you on a journey through the evolving landscape of real estate, with a spotlight on the foundation of it all, virgin lands. We will explore the myths, the market forces, the opportunities, and the hidden dangers. Accompanying me on this adventurous tour is Amaka the Realtor, one of the smartest real estate consultants I was privileged to know in Lagos. This episode is your comprehensive guide to everything you need to know before staking your claim in this modern gold rush. And before we go on, please like, share, and subscribe so we can be able to bring quality and educational content regarding real estate all over the world. There is a place in Lagos that feels different, where the roads are wider, the air a little fresher, and the land worth its weight in gold. This is Lagos Island, not just a location, but a statement. From Ikoyi to Lekki, from VI to Ekwe, this stretch of earth has become a symbol of class, arrival, and ambition. Everyone in the world wants a piece of it, even Africans in diaspora. When they say they want to buy a land in Lagos, they are mostly talking about the island. But the island we see today wasn't always like this. It has a story, a past, and it all began with a whisper. It started with Ikoyi, the quiet cradle of the colonial luxury. Back in the 70s, lands here cost less than 3,000 naira, but today the cost of this plot are over 1 billion naira. Then came Victoria Island. In Victoria Island, land was sold for 10,000 naira in the 80s, but now you will need a small fortune that crosses over in billions. And when Lagos had grew itself again, it stretched into Lekki, once a swamp but now a symbol. In the early stage of Lekki, you could acquire a plot of land for less than 500,000 naira, but now you have to try 300 million naira and rising. But Lagos doesn't stop. From Ajah to Songotedo, the dream keeps on spreading, and today it's Ekpe. Some say it's the final frontier. Looking back from the inception, you'll discover that the island didn't just grow. It expanded with vision, driven by those who saw tomorrow and bought it. Now, every stretch is the talk of town.
Real estate has become the talk of town, especially in Lagos, because Lagos is a commercial city, right? A lot of things are happening in Lagos. Aside from the new Lagos aspect, right? We have a lot of things going on in Lagos. A lot of industries, a lot of companies have their head offices, established here in Lagos, and like you said, people are moving in. Yeah. So because of the population, there is a need for more housing projects, right? There's a demand for more housing because we can't keep up with the, rental market, right? We need more, as the more people come into Lagos, the more demand we have for housing, projects. So that's why people want to buy so that they can build to either rent out or lease out for commercial purposes.
Okay, so the demand is there. And
demand is really high.
Okay,
absolutely.
Now, talking about the demand, like I said, for the past 3 months, we've been documenting real estate basically in Lagos, and there is one factor, which is the overpriced properties in Lagos. How can we trace it back to first the virgin lands in Lagos? Is there a connection? I believe it starts from the virgin lands.
Like I said earlier, the prices of land in Lagos is as a result of the demand. There are lots of factors, right, that causes the hike in price of properties in Lagos. There is population growth. There's limited housing supply, and there is also sometimes when someone wants to buy land, you say the price of the land is quite high. But then have you considered the size of the land that the person is buying? So the size of land too matters, right? Then the speculations of, we have this and this coming to Lagos. Like over there in Ikoyi, we have the Lekki International Airport. It's a project that will still come to pass, right? It's not happening now, but there's a speculation that yes, it will come to pass. And of course, we've been seeing everything on the internet. The Lagos State government has signed a memorandum with the project engineers and all of that. So we know that something like this is coming in. So people want to really, really dive into it. That's why people are now buying virgin lands in all of those areas, so that by the time all of these projects kicks off, of course, the value will not be the same anymore. The value would have increased. Another thing that causes the increase of lands in Lagos, or the increase of price in Lagos, could be factored to the economic, our current economy in Nigeria. We see that the cost of things are going up. So likewise, the cost of building materials, the cost of construction too goes up. So by the time you buy a land let's take for instance, you buy a land of 30 million naira somewhere around Aja, and you build, let's say you spend like roughly 30 million naira. That's like 60 million naira. You can't sell that land at 60 million naira. No. You want to make profit, right? You want to sell like 80 to 100 million naira so that you'll be able to develop something else, right? So economic factor too is another thing that causes this hike in price. Okay, so I've watched videos, right? I wasn't really aware at that time, but I've watched videos of people saying, as a 1980 something, I got a property in Lekki for like 50,000 naira.
Was that possible?
Like maybe like 300 square meter.
50,000.
Yes. That's what some people say. I've watched series of videos like that. Maybe like in the 80s or early 70s, right? Some would say, I bought it then for so amount, and now it's not selling for like, the value is now like 1 billion, 2 billion. And you're like, how come? Right? But I'm aware of some of these, there's a property by AY Homes Investment Limited. As at 2022, we sold that property for 5 million naira.
Okay.
But currently is along Lekki Expressway. The property is actually sold out. Hilton Royal Garden is sold out now. The last time we sold our property, we didn't sell anything less than 30 million naira.
Wow.
We started from 5 million naira. So you can imagine, because of everything going on, the news that was coming up, the speculations, like I said earlier, that we have, the international airport, because it's directly facing the express and it's almost facing this international airport area, the place that's been mapped out for it. So all of this, brought about the increase in price for that particular property. Though it is sold out now, but when I look back to the last time we sold that property before it was sold out, I'm like, wow, this was in 2022.
That's like 3 years ago.
Right? And I think the last time we sold it was around early last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. So the early last year price and not right now.
Do you understand? So currently now, a 500 square meter of land in that axis is sold for nothing less than 40 million naira as we speak. Yes, as we speak. So,
wow, that's a whole lot. Now, still talking about this whole pricing structure, what's your take on the trending topic of overpriced properties in Lagos?
All right, so it's in two different ways. For let me talk about the rental aspect. Okay. So we've had issues with developers constructing a building and putting it for XYZ, right, amount, and then it places the property in charge of a so-called lawyer or a so-called agent, and then because the agent wants to make more money, he adds some exorbitant amount to it, so making it quite expensive and making it look like, oh, it is overpriced. I'm sure you are aware of this thing. So it happens, and I don't know how we can actually call this thing, because it's something that I've experienced personally. Trying to get a house, and then the actual price is so amount, but the agent is giving me for so amount, which is quite higher than it should be.
It's a very serious issue. I think we need to talk about.
It is. So I feel like, though we don't know how to curb this now, but I feel like for some of us that have the opportunity to meet with these developers directly, we can actually speak with them directly if we want to lease a house, or speak with the direct owners of the house, or speak with maybe the direct lawyers, because most of these house owners, they put lawyers. No, the house owners themselves, they put lawyers in charge of the house. So I feel like people fall victim when they speak with the agent directly. But I feel what these landlords are now doing now is that they ask you to meet with the lawyer directly. I was in a situation sometime, when I used to do house letting, sometime in Ogun State, and then the landlord will say, okay, when you bring the buyer, or when you bring the tenant, take them to the lawyer, because I know you people. I'm like, so I was wondering, like, why is Mama sounding this way? Do you understand? So when we go to meet the lawyer will ask you, how much did they tell you?
Ask the supposed tenant.
The tenant, how much did they tell you? So it was at that point I started realizing that, oh, this is what these guys do, right? So when they now mention a different amount, then the lawyer will not be like, why? And then we will not be like, oh, it's because of our commission. And sometimes our commissions are always higher because there are lots of agents on board, that have to share from.
It's now the person, sorry to cut you short, it's now the person who wants to acquire this property
that will pay.
Exactly.
So it makes it look overpriced. So I feel like if you are dealing with a real estate expert that knows what he or she is doing, those people know how to place you in the right. They are able to figure out which is best for you and make you not to pay so much because they have integrity at stake.
There's this trend, I think I heard about it last year, saying Lagos is not a good place to buy properties because you can wake up today and your house is being demolished by the government. And I know 3 days ago, there's a whole lot of houses in Ikota have been demolished.
Yeah.
I don't really know the full gist or details regarding that particular incident. I mean, the recent one in terms of Ikota, but what do you have to say regarding Lagos not being a good place for investors to come in terms of real estate?
So I've heard a lot of people respond to, questions like this. And for me, I would say that these people fall victims of this circumstance because of a lot of factors that they ignored, right? There is the due diligence. We keep shouting, oh, do your due diligence. It's not about, oh, this property is selling and it has a CFO, and then you are like, oh, okay, how much is it? Okay, give me the account details, I'll pay, without doing verifications, right? You see the document and then you are like, oh, okay, I think this is good because it has CFO or it has one good title, and then you make payment and then you move into the house.
So the CFO is not really
yes. Of course, don't you know they do fake CFO?
Sure, that's true.
Yeah, so there are a lot of scammers out there, and another aspect apart from the title, there are some properties that falls into zones where the government have mapped out for certain things. It could be that maybe they want to pass a drainage through that place. And there's something about Ikota that I've noticed. A lot of properties are there. They just build, and if you take notes, there are no drainages.
Exactly.
In that
Most
place,
especially
they just build.
The
sometime in 2021, I inspected a property for a client, and when I got there, I was like, wow. There are lots of houses. They just build. Everybody just build. No drainage. The place that looks like a swampy area where water is supposed to pass through. People are already buying the virgin land to start building. So by the time government now start demolishing, they now start saying, oh, they demolished my house. Oh, I bought the house for 150 million, and all of that. So they get affected by all of those things. So there are a lot of things that they need to consider before so that they don't fall victim of this. I know it has happened to a lot of people. So something happened to a client of mine last week. I was just sharing this with someone before this interview. So a friend reached out to me. I think it was she reached out to me on Wednesday to say she had bought a property on Monday. She reached out to me on Wednesday and said she bought a property on Monday. And then I was like, okay, so why are you calling me? I mean, you already bought the property. And then she's like, oh, Amaka, I need you to help me get a surveyor to survey the land. I'm like, you already paid for the property and you just want to do? And I'm like, didn't you do your findings? She was like, oh, it was my mom. I'm like, okay, calm down. Okay, so what's the next thing to do? She said, oh, I have paid already, so let's just get the land surveyed. I'm like, okay, you know what? Just hang on there. I got my survey and I'm like, okay, you know what? Go to this area, pick up the coordinates, and let's check this property. By the time my surveyor got to land, he reached out to me and he said, Amaka, that land is a no-go area. That the land is a committed land. It's under government acquisition and is mapped out for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, whoa. And this girl already paid a huge sum of money for that land. When I reached out to her, in fact, she was really mad on the phone. Yeah, so now the advice is that they should not build on the land. Because if they put up any structure there, it will be brought down. So they should just keep farming. When she reached out to me, she said, oh, I spoke with a lawyer that told me that the land was free. And I'm like, oh. Okay, so the job of the lawyer is different. His job is to do legal documents, sign, and all of that. The job of the lawyer is not to go to Alausa to check if that land is free. There are two different things. So you have to get a surveyor, which she now later got, and which was already too late for her. I mean, she can't get her money back. Anybody that wants to buy the land now, because now she's already thinking of selling up the land. Anybody that wants to buy the land now, if the person is not smart enough, the person would buy. But if the person is someone that will say, okay, let me go and make my application, and the person finds out, the person won't buy.
Meaning you have to go through a registered real estate company.
You just have to. It's either you're going through a registered real estate company or you're going through a real estate expert, like I said earlier, that knows what he or she is doing. They'll be able to identify which land is good and which land is bad.
Okay.
Do you understand? I mean, if I'm called upon today now to say, oh, okay, I want to buy a property, I'll be able to tell you. First question I will ask you, what do you need a property for?
Okay.
I mean, is it for residential? Is it for commercial? Is it a long-term investment? Is it something you want to buy and keep?
Okay.
Is it something you want to buy and start building?
Okay.
Like right now or in the next 4 years? I'll be able to tell you, okay, this is an area.
We continued our tour as we went out to check some available properties along the Lekki-Epe Expressway, the new Lagos, one of the gold mine you can invest in.
All right, guys. So, like he said, yes, we're on our way to Idiorogbo, Lekki Palacio. Exactly. We're going to Lekki Palacio Estate by AY Homes Investment Limited. It's located at Idiorogbo, Ibeju-Lekki, Lagos. So, we want to show you what that property looks like, why you should invest in that property, and things you need to consider before investing in real estate, basically. So, yeah, come with us. Ciao.
AY Homes.
Exactly. So how many minutes? How many minutes away from let's say from Lekki Phase 1? How many minutes?
I've never driven from Lekki Phase 1 to but I can tell that from Aja down to where we are headed to now is about 1 hour drive.
Oh, 1 hour. Okay.
From Aja, yes. But from our office about 45 minutes. Yes, of course.
Without traffic. Okay.
But from our office rather to the site, it's about 35 to 45 minutes drive.
And like you said, Ibeju-Lekki is the next. It's not really the next. It's where you should also consider investing. I mean, if you want to buy properties or...
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the next... It's not the next Lagos, it's the real Lagos happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think the new Lagos is Ekpe.
Yes.
The current Lagos is Ibeju-Lekki. No, starts at Ibeju-Lekki. And while the previous Lagos is Aja downwards. Welcome to Lekki Palacio Garden by AY Homes.
Yeah.
I mean, over to the biggest realtor in town.
All right, guys. So welcome to Lekki Palacio Gardens by AY Homes Investment Limited. I mean, this property is directly facing the Lekki-Epe Expressway, and this is Idiorogbo, Ibeju-Lekki, Lagos. I mean, along this road, we have a lot of things going on. We have Pan-Atlantic University, we have the proposed international airport, the Lekki Film City that is coming up very soon,
wow.
Alara City, very close to us is Lekki Free Trade Zone, Dangote Refinery, and a whole lot more. I mean, we have hospitals, schools, and a lot of things going on in this axis. So yeah, this is the place to invest your money in. So we have 500 square meters for residential plots going for 30 million naira and 500 square meters for commercial plots going for 40 million naira. Okay. And it's all inclusive, yes.
What do you mean by all inclusive?
So it means that you don't have to pay any extra charge, any extra cost whatsoever.
For C of O, I mean documents and all.
So the property comes with a government allocation, right? So if you are paying 30 million naira for residential or 40 million naira for commercial, right? Whether either of the two, it is all inclusive, so you don't have to pay any extra amount of money for any kind of documentation or development. This property comes with, a lot of amenities that's going to be put in place. I mean, features, we have the CCTV camera, we have, of course, we're going to have a very good road network. As you can see, the road construction is already is under construction. Yeah. So we have a lot of things that we'll be putting up in this place. We're going to have, of course, the estate security is already here. We're going to have a recreational center and a whole lot more. So you have a lot of things to gain when you buy from Lekki Palacio Garden and any other of our property.
Wow, Palacio.
Hey, be careful here.
Yeah, please be careful. This is a valley.
So we have a vast land here.
According to Ola of Lagos, see space,
See space, my people, see space. Make una come buy land for Lekki Palacio Garden. If you know one Lekki Palacio, we get City Pearl and Garden, we get AY Homes Luxury Bungalow, we get City View Estate, we get Liberty Island Estate. Anyone where you want buy, just contact the number with your screen. One of the factors that you have to consider, like I've always said, is the fact that you first of all need to consider the location. I mean, of course, what is happening in this location, you have to ask yourself. And like he rightly said, there are lots of facilities, a lot of infrastructures, a lot of industries in this environment. And all of these things will aid the increase in value of property. So you don't want to buy a property in a place where it will take a long time before it will increase in value, or where it will depreciate in value. You want to buy a property in a place that, within a year you'll be able to get about 100% ROI from your investment. Of course, very close to us here is the proposed international airport. It's just about less than 10 minutes drive.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So we have the proposed international airport. And imagine that the airport starts functioning. Imagine that your property is very close to the airport. So you can imagine the value of that property. So yes, so it's a good one.
What do you think, for example, a first-time buyer like me or anyone watching, what do you think are the risks, or what do you think I should watch out for before making any major move? For example, now, if your friend had reached out to you before paying, she wouldn't have be a victim of such unfortunate incidents. So what are the risks? What are the scams out there? What are the things do you think I need to look out for before making any investment anywhere in Lagos?
All right, so I would say that first of all, get yourself a real estate expert.
Okay.
Right, don't do it on your own. I mean, this is something that you are spending your hard-earned money on. So it's not something you can just do anyhow. So you don't mess up with your money. Right, take your time. Get somebody that today is selling clothes, tomorrow is selling wig, next tomorrow is real estate. No. Don't do business with those kind of people. Those kind of people, they just want to sell to make their money, right? But get somebody that knows what he or she is doing, that you have seen over time that, oh, this person has been in this business. Not just the real estate expert, get a lawyer, a certified lawyer for that matter, right? Get a lawyer to help you do verifications on the papers, right? On the papers. And then, your real estate agents will be able to make inquiries on, oh, okay, I'll take this, I'll call a surveyor, right, to pick up the coordinates and check if the land is free or not, because that's the first process. It's not just about showing you papers that, oh, the land has a good title. It's not about having a good title. It's not about having. There are lots of properties. I was aware of some that people bought in Ikota scammed. They scammed them with the titles. They gave them fake C of O documents. Yes. They give them fake C of O documents. They felt they knew, and most of these people are people in diaspora. People that were not really around when the properties were bought. They bought into it because maybe their family member or whoever represented them gave them a go ahead and said it was okay. So just we have a lot of them. I mean, personally, this is what I do for a living, right? So you can always reach out to me or any experts, any real estate experts that's out there. Do your due diligence so that you don't fall into the hands of scammers. There are some properties that, Another thing that you need to look out for is the fact that, there are some properties sometimes, virgin lands especially.
Okay.
When you go to a very busy area, a well-developed area, and you see a virgin land, be very, very careful about that property, because most times the property might be on a court case. That they've been going back and forth, that made that property abandoned where it is. So be very careful about those kind of properties in that area. Make sure that you do your proper findings. Some would say, maybe the person that took you there will tell you, oh, it's my family that owns this land. We are the ones that will win. We have all the, do you understand? We have all the rights. We have done this, we have done that. At the end of the day, they will tell you to make a commitment that by the time they are done with the court case,
you are the first person.
At the end of the day, they lose the case, and then you start looking for them. Your money is gone. So be careful. Those kind of properties don't get in your hands. If you're not able to buy in that location, you can buy in other locations. There are a lot of areas in Lagos where you can actually invest in. So basically, get yourself a real estate expert that will handhold you through the process from start to finish. In your real estate journey.
Now talking about it's so sad. Now talking about these documents, and you mentioned that you can even be given a fake C of O.
Yes.
I mean, a popular site like Ikoyi, you shouldn't really be scammed. I mean, Ikoyi, you get. So can you lecture us on the various documentation process? I mean, as a first-time buyer, what should I know regarding this documentation, C of O, and any other documents that...
Okay, so first of all, after visiting, of course, it is important that you inspect the property you want to buy.
Okay.
Either virtually or on site.
Okay.
If you're not in Nigeria, if you're not in the country, you can always visit virtually and ask someone to, and be there to represent you. But be sure that you are aware, or you are online, you are seeing the environment, or they send you videos of the property. So after inspecting the property, make sure to do a survey. That's the first thing.
Okay, survey.
A survey. Make sure to do a survey of the land. Get a surveyor, pick the coordinates, and then the person takes it to lands, Ministry of Lands, to do verifications on the land to be sure if the land is free or not.
Okay.
Right? To be sure if the land is free from government acquisition or not. Now, if the land is free, then you are good to go. But if it's not, then take your hands off it.
Okay.
Now, if it's free, you can go ahead with purchasing it. Then when you are done purchasing, make sure you perfect the title. Now, what's the next thing to do? Now, the surveyor now takes, of course, you have your registered survey, right? You can now proceed with your C of O, because there are some areas that, have certain documents that they give.
Okay.
Right? Not all areas allows the C of O, the certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
There are some areas that they only give government allocation or governor's consent, right? So if that particular area falls into one of the areas where the government is actually issuing the certificate of occupancy, right, you can go ahead with it. Now, what is the certificate of occupancy? It's a document that shows that you own a particular land for 99 years.
Okay.
So you own that land to yourself. Now you have perfected all of the documents. Now the land belongs to you for 99 years. When I started real estate, I found out that all the land in Lagos, in fact, the whole country belongs to the government.
Okay.
Right? So they hold the land. Now this is me going back to history. Now they hold the land for they hold the land. Now it is not left to the dwellers in that particular community to now come back to the government to say, this land belongs to my father, this land belongs. But because the government already have a plan, because we can't say because this land belongs to your forefathers, we allow you, do whatever you want to do on the land, when there should be like basic amenities within that community. Now government brings in their plan to say, okay, this is our layout, this is what we want to do on this land, right? We would want to build schools, we want to build hospitals, we would want to do roads on this land. So the rest of the land, they will now say, okay, you take this portion, you take. Now, the land now gets back to the owners of the land. Now, government now gives them the ownership to certain portions after they've already mapped out where they want to use for their industries, for this, for that. Now, these owners, these community dwellers now have, access to because they are claimed land, right? So those land they now sell to developers or individuals that wishes to buy. So it is now expected of those individuals to now perfect the title on the land, because those community dwellers, they have not done anything on the land. The highest they will do is just survey, and sometimes it's not registered. So what you're expected to do as a buyer, since you are buying directly from them, is to perfect that title and
that
make sure.
What's the process like?
Just to make sure that you survey the land, as to know the size of the land, the measurement, the boundaries. So when you survey a land, it shows you where the government amenities, or where governments have actually mapped out
for any of
falls in, so that by the time you are surveying the land, you won't encroach into the government's property that they've already acquired from the community dwellers. So it shows you the size of the land and everything you need to know about the land. So yes, once that is done, you find out that everything is fine, you go ahead with registering it with the Surveyor General. So I think that takes about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on whoever is doing it for you. So you register the land, then you are good to go. Then, like I said, if the area that you stay or the area that the property is located at allows the process of CO, because getting the CO in Nigeria now is not that easy, right? So if you're not able to get it on time, you can proceed with maybe a governor's consent. So governor's consent is a note from the governor. Is a document, right, that states that this land has been allocated to you and this land belongs to you. So, can you
use that in place
it's a proof of ownership. It's a proof of ownership. You can table it anywhere. So tomorrow, when anything happens, you can always table it. There's a governor's consent on it. So it also stands as a CFO. So if you're not able to run your CFO, why not?
Real estate in Lagos isn't just about land. It's about timing, knowledge, and survival. For every success story, there is a scar. Deals lost, properties demolished, and dreams delayed. But if there is one thing this journey has taught us, it's information is power. The difference between regrets and reward is knowing what to do, where to look, and who to trust. So if you are thinking of investing, don't go in blind. Click the link in the description below or reach out via WhatsApp. The right guidance might just save you millions of dollars. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode.